Make the ground shake.
What's up everyone? This video I'm back on the press account for another week, and I will be doing an overview of the new German medium tank line which just came out, which ends right here with the Leopard one. So let's just go over what tanks are in the line in general. Okay, so let's start looking at the new tanks in general in terms of their stats. What you're going to see with the new line is the speed. 64 kilometers an hour with the Panzer III down here at tier 4, great traverse speed at 45 and great turret traverse at 35. It also boasts pretty good frontal armor at 70, but the weakness of the tank is the gun. The penetration is subpar and it can barely even penetrate itself, even though it has a great rate of fire. So this means the Panzer III will be able to quickly get into position at the beginning of the game and start using that very quick rate of fire to just devastate its enemies. And you can, most tanks at tier 3 don't have 67mm of armor, so that weakness isn't really going to stand out much. Also angle your armor to increase the effectiveness of it, which means you'll be able to pull off more bounces considering you've got pretty good frontal armor. So there you go. So coming up to tier 5 with the Panzer III-4, you're getting a penetration boost, you're getting an alpha damage boost, and you're getting better engine power. The Panzer III-4 gets 585 horsepower engine, whilst it still weighs 25 tons. Fortunately though, the gun does have quite a slow rate of fire and pretty bad accuracy, but the aim time isn't bad at all. So the armor, it's pretty, I don't think it really matters at tier 5, and to compensate for the good characteristics, it does get a lack of health at tier 5 as a medium tank. The Panzer III-4, the trend in speed still continues. It still gets a good 55 kilometers an hour top speed limit, which is 10 kilometers an hour lower than the Panzer III, but it doesn't really matter because 55 is still more than enough to get into positions quickly and dominate the early game by putting early shots into the enemy whilst they're getting into position. And you can also use the punchy gun to just absolutely harass and take apart the tanks, or just put nasty holes in them which will cripple them. Up here at tier 6, we've got the VK301D, which has 1000, which is quite a lot of health for a tier 6 medium tank. It gets a boost in the gun it uses. Over the Panzer III-4, it gets a boost in penetration, accuracy, rate of fire, but it still retains the same aim time. So in mobility, the VK301D still retains the trend of being fast, being maneuverable, having pretty decent engine power, which gives it a decent power to weight ratio. Up at tier 7, we have the VK302D. This thing kind of is really horrible with that top 88mm gun. So what I recommend you do is you stick with the 75mm, which is the same as the 301D, because as you can see, 132mm of standard penetration against 150, kind of much worse. So the VK302D also has, as well as the 301D, kind of sloped armor, which you shouldn't rely on, but it can occasionally bounce shots, which is good. The 75mm from the previous tank also has a massive rate of fire increase from 9.29 I think on the VK301D to 12.5 on this tank, which is absolutely insane. So this means you just have to use the 75 over the short 88 because it just completely outclasses it. So at tier 8 with the Indian Panzer, the first thing you will probably notice is the absolutely amazing sloped armor. Well, I hate to burst your bubble, but that really isn't good. 90mm of frontal hull armor is equivalent to just about 140mm of armor when angled effectively. At the most, it'll be, I think, around 160 if you angle it like that, and even at a steep angle, it's still able to penetrate it easily by tanks like the IS-3's BL9, which has a decent, which has 225 millimeters of penetration. So in terms of mobility, I mean, the Indian Panzer does kind of feel sluggish compared to the other tanks of the line. I mean, 50 kilometers an hour speed limit, 38. Traverse speed isn't really that great, I don't think, but it makes up for it with the amazing gun. I mean, it's got amazing penetration, 212 millimeters, 8.96 rounds a minute, and decent 0.34 accuracy. Unfortunately, the one thing that lets this gun down is that absolutely terrible 2.9 second aiming time, which really just cripples the gun and limits the capabilities of the tank. Having that awful aiming time could also kind of be the difference between a game-winning shot and a game-losing shot, so as I said, it just cripples the tank, and you really do kind of have to change how you play the tank because of that aim time. So we finally move on to the just pure speed, no armor kind of factor at tier 9 with the Leopard PTA. So this thing gets the 105mm gun with amazing penetration, amazing accuracy, and a pretty decent aim time. The Leopard PTA also gets a tier 10 tank gun. At tier 9 it gets the Leopard 1's top gun, but with worse characteristics. So 6.32 rate of fire is really good compared to the Centurion 7.1, which gets 5.69 rounds a minute, which is absolutely terrible. I mean, around a 12-second reload is pretty bad, I'd say. So the Leopard PTA does get the better gun because it has no armor at all. It will rely on its speed to get out of sticky situations, and you can use that amazing speed to get into positions as well, but these Leopards are very, very difficult to play. It does take a lot of skill. I mean, you have to either be a good medium driver or just in general know what you're doing. You have to avoid getting hit, and the problem with the Leopard PTA is that the ammo rack, this tank is made up ammo racks. I mean, the side of the tank near the just below the turret is where the ammo rack is on each side. If you hit it anywhere there, you will probably like 90% guaranteed ammo just damage the ammo rack, and it'll make them use their repair kits. So you have to pack 2 repair kits, so multi-purpose restoration and normal repair kit. So yeah, that's why you should probably definitely consider getting a wet ammo rack on this tank. I mean, it's not as bad as the Leopard 1, but on the Leopard 1 I mean, but still it's pretty bad, and it's a good consideration to put it on the tank. Definitely on the PTA. So apart from the ammo rack, the engine power is 830, and that is pretty good considering this is a 40-ton tank. It goes at 65 and it will reach 50 kilometers an hour, no problem at all. Same with the Leopard 1. And finally, at the end marks the Leopard 1, which is the tier 10 medium out of the new line. So this thing gets 1850 hit points. It's got no armor to speak of. The gun is even better than the PTA. So it's one of the most accurate guns in the game, along with E50 and E50M. It gets 8 rounds a minute, which is absolutely insane. That puts it second in terms of DPM of the tier 10 mediums, obviously the T62A coming first. But this thing has 2,800 DPM, whilst the T62A has 2,920 something, I'm not sure. So the reload, the accuracy, and the aiming time come together to make the gun on the Leopard an absolute beast, and also paired with the fact that the Leopard has -9 gun depression all around, just makes it absolutely amazing in terms of firepower, gun depression, and stuff like that. Whereas the Leopard PTA, the tier 9, gets -6, which isn't bad, but well, no, it is pretty bad. It's still workable. So the Leopard 1 is a huge upgrade over the PTA in the fact that it gets it gets a better kind of ammo rack location. It doesn't get ammo racked often, and it's just got better traverse speed. It's just an all-around better tank. This tank also has a 54-degree traverse speed, which means it's able to just about circle any heavy tank in the game, any TD in the game, even the E5, which is pretty hard for mediums to circle because it's an all-around maneuverable, it's got good traverse speed, good turret traverse, but no, this Leopard has no problem circling E5s either, so yeah, the Leopard's obviously very maneuverable without doubt. It's got the same 830 horsepower engine, it's got 65 km/h speed limit. I've just realised this video is really long, so anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video of looking at the new tanks. Subscribe if you're new, thanks for watching, and bye!